Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. Today I have a couple of subscriber submissions, a couple of updates, and a couple of encounters to share with you. Before we get into today's upload, though, a couple links. As you know, I rely on my Patreon, my PayPal, and my merch to help this channel to continue to grow and go. All of those links are in the description below. I also have a second channel for creepypasta, fanfiction, and scary voice acting. Stories that, well, they really don't fit on this channel. Now, if that's anything that you're into, follow that link and give those stories a listen. You may just like what you hear. Also, briefly, TJ Neely, I lost your email. The email that you sent me, I accidentally deleted it with your phone number. Can you please reach back out to me with it? Thank you. Now I've taken enough of your time. Let's get on with today's upload. Shall we? Today's first part of the upload is from a subscriber named Fred. As you guys may remember, he was the gentleman who was stationed on Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri. He reached out to one of the other guys that was on his team, and this is the update he shared with me just recently. Good morning, Jeff. I've spoken with one of the other guys on the fire team as to what he saw that night. He came out of the driver's side rear door and was about 10 to 15 feet away, as we were all spaced out for tactical reasons. When he saw the first red-eyed bipedal creature watching us, he began scanning around as we scrambled back to the Humvee. He saw two more that were coming up from behind us, around our 7 o'clock position. One was moving on all fours and stood around 4 feet tall. The second one was advancing bipedally and around 7.5 feet tall. It reminds me of the encounter in New England with the ambulance, where one was being a decoy to keep attention from the others when they were creeping behind. Today's second part of the upload is some clarification or, clarification and a brief encounter with something strange around Lewis and Adams area in North Carolina. This guest is going to remain anonymous. Hey Jeff, I just wanted to email you and clarify and also verify Lewis and Adam. I worked at McGuire Nuclear Power Plant, where Adam's sister saw the Dogman. It's located off of Highway 73 in Denver, coming out of Huntersville, not Morrisville like Lewis stated. Honest mistake on his part. Also, Adam confused McGuire with Marshall Steam Station, which is on the other side of Lake Norman. All of this can be verified with Google Maps. And yes, like Adam, I've experienced strange things there while working at McGuire as a groundsperson. I never thought of putting that together as a Dogman since I didn't know about them at the time. I could email you more info if you'd like and answer any questions. Of course, naturally, I responded with, I'd like. And this is his reply. Sorry it took a minute to reply that I was at work. Unfortunately, I never had a physical encounter. All that happened was strange occurrences. For the starters, McGuire Nuclear Power Plant is a part of North Carolina Wildlife Program, where they feed and house deer. So we had an abundance of deer population. In rut season, we would see up to 15 active does running around on the plant property, yet alone on the switch yard, which was on 73, where there were hundreds of acres of woods. With that being said, occasionally, when a doe or a buck gets hit on Highway 73, we would have to clean up the carcass off the side of the road. Policy being we can't go on the side of the road at dusk or dawn, so we had to wait till daylight to go. Well, sometimes, when we got there, the carcass would be drug far off into the woods. further than a human would actually want to waste time to do. We used UTVs like Polaris Rangers and John Deere Gators to retrieve the carcasses and dump them in our landfill. Sometimes, when we would get the carcass, they would be all torn up, and even some pieces in the tree, so we just chalked it up to being coyotes and birds of prey. I have a few more strange occurrences that happened there. I wouldn't mind telling you if you'd like. Mainly I wrote you to clarify a few details Adam and Lewis mixed up, and to say their encounters made my brain kind of put two and two together with what I saw going on there. Please, keep my name private due to privacy reasons. I don't want to get blacklisted for leaking any info of the nuclear power plant. Today's third part of the upload is going to be a subscriber's submission of an encounter. Jeff, my name is BD. I'm 43 and I've lived in Louisiana all my life. I live about 30 minutes south of Lafayette, Louisiana, not far from where Sebastian was taken. I've been hunting, fishing, trapping since I was old enough to hold a gun or a fishing pole. I've been working in the swamps and marshes since I was 16. I've hunted alligators, crawfishing, commercial fishing, and seismograph drilling, and many other things. I've had strange things happen to me in the swamps and woods, paranormal things. But my first cryptid encounter happened about 6 years ago. I live in the woods in a small home behind my parents' house and didn't have a driveway to my house. I would park at my parents' house and walk down a path to my house. I would usually wake up around 4 in the morning to get ready for work. I'd get up, make my coffee, make my lunch for the day, let my dog out before I left, etc. This particular morning, I went to let my dog out to do his business. I opened the door to let him out. He took a couple of steps out onto the porch, but wouldn't go down to the steps to use it. My dog is named Buck. He is a 145-pound white American pit bull and has never been scared of anything. He's a very special dog to me. He saved my life when my trailer caught fire. He dragged me off the couch to wake me up. Anyway, when I go out to let him out, he just stands on the porch growling, and his hair is standing up on his back and neck. So I go to walk him off the porch, and all he would do was stand in front of me and push me in the house. So I let him back in and got ready for work. I get dressed, make my lunch, and go to leave. When I walk out the door, he gets between me and the door. I figured he just didn't want me to leave, 'cause I'd bring him everywhere with me except for work. So I just push past him, lock the door, and start my walk to where my truck is parked. To get to my truck, I have to walk down a path which is about 75 yards through the woods, and another 100 yards through a field and my parents' yard. It's always dark when I leave, so I use my little flashlight on my keychain, which is not very bright. I get about halfway through the wooded part of the trail, and this feeling of fear comes over me. Now, I'm not one that scares easily. I've had a rather rough life growing up. I've been in and out of jail, been shot and stabbed twice. I've even fought in unlicensed bare-knuckle street fights for money. I'm not saying this to brag, because I'm not proud of it. It's quite the opposite. I'm ashamed of it. It's a fact that I've never been as scared in those situations as when this feeling came over me. This was different. This was primal fear. I've been in the woods thousands of times at night and never felt scared. Anyway, I couldn't shake that feeling. I'm shining my piece of crap flashlight around, looking in the woods, and don't see anything, so I keep walking. When I made it out of the wooded part of the trail, I turned to the right and took a few steps. Then I heard a sound like a twig breaking. In my immediate turn, and I shined my little flashlight. I could see a black figure by the edge of the woods. It was about 4.5 feet tall with yellowish eyes. It looked like a big dog, kind of like a Great Dane, but bigger. I couldn't make it out too well with my little light. I could see the shape. We stared at each other for another few seconds. Then I turned and started back to my truck. I took a few more steps, then heard another cracking noise, so I turned around again and shined my flashlight. That's when this creature stood up. All I could do was stand there, frozen. I wanted to run, but it's like I couldn't take my eyes off of it. I watch it take a few steps on its hind legs towards me. I finally get my legs to move, so I start running as fast as I could to my truck. I still had about 80 yards to go. I wasn't sure if it was chasing me or not. Then I could hear its paws, whatever they were hitting on the ground. It kind of sounded like a horse does when it runs, except it was a sound of 2 feet, not 4. I'm freaking out now, running as fast as I ever had before. I would have given Forrest Gump a run for his money. I can now hear its breathing behind me. I now know this sounds crazy, but I could feel its hot, nasty breath on the back of my neck. I really thought I was as good as dead. I round the corner where my parents' fence is, so now I only have 20 or more yards to go. This is when I was certain it would get me. I was praying that my truck door was unlocked, because I figured it got me while I was fumbling with my keys. Thank God when I grabbed the door handle, it was unlocked. I jumped in my truck and immediately turned the bright lights on. This is when I got the biggest shock of my life. This thing was just standing there by the fence and the wood line, just looking at me. Jeff, I'm not making this up. This thing looked like it crawled out of the bowels of hell. Its head looked like a cross between a wolf and a hyena. Its ears almost looked like rabbit ears, but bigger, with tufts of fur on the tips. It looked black, with a little gray around the snout and chest. The shoulders on this thing were huge, like bowling balls on its chest. Torso was huge. Also, it was so muscled up, you could see the definition through its fur. Its upper body tapers down like a V shape. I'm a novice bodybuilder, and it makes me look like a baby. Hell, it would make Mr. Olympia look small. Its legs were like a dog's legs, but much bigger. I was sure I was looking at a werewolf. The thing that really freaked me out was that it looked me dead in my eyes and smiled. It didn't show its teeth like a dog does when it's mad. This thing smiled at me. I could see every one of its sharp teeth. It stood there grinning, rocking back and forth, and just makes one leap, and it was out of sight. I left, got 3 miles away, and got sick, and had to throw up. I called my parents and told them I saw a man all in black creeping around their house, and to get out their guns and lock their doors. I didn't know how to say I saw a freaking werewolf. If I learned anything from this, it's trust your dog. He was just trying to warn me, and I didn't listen. I miss him so much. He was my best friend I ever had. I had him for 16 years, and he passed away last year. I'm tearing up now thinking about him. I'll never get over him. It just seems to get worse every day. Thanks, Jeff, for what you do. I know you help a lot of people, and you sure helped me. Thanks, friends, and God bless you. I hope you get this email the second time I wrote it out. The first had a little more detail, but I hope this is enough for you. I've had 2 more encounters since then, and I'll get them to you if you want to hear them. Please let me know if you get this. Thanks, Jeff. And I responded, and I got those 2 other emails. My second encounter happened about a month after the first. It was about 2 a.m., and my dog wakes me up growling by my bedroom window. So I get up and walk over to the window to check it out. I pull back the blinds and look out, but I don't see anything. I get back into bed. I finally got my dog to settle down. As soon as I start to drift to sleep, I get woken up by a scratching sound on the side of my house, right by my bed. So I get up again, I grab my .44 mag from my nightstand and go to the window again. This time, when I pull the blinds down, I'm face to face with a Dogman looking at me with his nose against the window. I'm about pissed myself. It was just standing there looking at me. The second I picked up my pistol and pointed it at this thing, it moves away from the window as fast as I'd ever seen anything move in my life. It didn't look real how fast this thing moved. It was almost cartoonish. That's how fast it looked when I pointed the gun at it. This creature knew exactly what a gun was. Needless to say, I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. The next day, I installed motion detection lights all around my house, put up alarms on the windows and doors. Ever since then, I sleep with a .45-70 lever action on the side of my bed and an AK-47 with 75-round drum magazine on the other. I don't know if it will save me or not if one gets in, but I will sure do everything I can to come out alive. I don't really think these Dogmen are out to kill people. I actually think they take pleasure scaring the shit out of people. My third encounter happened in September of last year. I was on my way home from a friend's party. It was about 3 a.m. when I pulled in the driveway and my headlights shined down to where my parents kept their trash can. I could see the can was on its side, and I could see something was halfway inside of it. When I got a little closer, the thing pulls its head out from the trash and looks at my truck for about 2 seconds, stands up, then casually walks into the woods. This one was different from the other two I had seen. It was much more slendered body and light brown color. Its head looked like a German shepherd's. It also had a short bushy tail. It was 5.5 feet tall. I think this one was a female. I haven't seen any more since then, but I do hear screaming, like howling at night sometimes. Something is getting in my trash can. I can hear the lid slamming at night, and sometimes it's on its side in the morning. The trash cans everyone has around here are big. It stands probably 4.5 feet tall. So I know it has to be big to do that, so I'm pretty sure it is a Dogman. Thanks for taking the time out to read my encounters, Jeff, and God bless everyone. All right, guys, first and foremost, I definitely want to apologize for my narration. It was way off, and I know I am just drained right now. School starts in a couple of days. Trying to get my daughter all set. God. But she's going to be homeschooled, so there's no break for Dad. Anyway, I'm looking forward to another year of homeschooling her. Actually, I had a great time doing it at the end of last year, so it was good stuff. I did reach out to BD. I sent him an email and asked him if he would be willing to come on and share these encounters with us. Definitely a terrifying set of encounters. I do not know how I would act on the first encounter. I mean, there's nothing else you can do except run as fast as you can and pray to the Lord that you get to your truck before it gets to you. Wow. So it was also very nice of Fred to reach out to another one of his military buddies that was there that day and ask what they saw. It kind of validates my thought that what they were seeing was a Dogman, just because one was bipedal and the other was on all fours. So that's just my belief. The second encounter, or second part of the upload, yeah, you hit the head of the nail hard on that one. The reason why those deer carcasses were pulled off into the woods and shredded up in the trees is definitely Dogman, 100%. And I definitely would be glad that I was done with that job, cleaning up deer carcasses off the side of the road, and wondering what the hell is doing this to these things. Anyway, I am going to get this video uploaded, and I am going to crash early. It's about 10:30 now, so I should have this up by midnight. Well, it's a little earlier than usual for me. Hopefully I can get maybe 5 hours of sleep. Thanks everybody for tuning in tonight, and I've got a good upload for you guys tomorrow. I've got an update from Zach, and I'll be sharing that with you guys. Hopefully we can get BD. Hopefully we can get Zach up on here. I definitely want TJ Neely to come on and discuss his book with us, Revelation. It is an amazing book. I read it cover to back in probably 4.5 hours and was just astonished with the information. That's on Amazon right now. It's called Revelations, the Hominid Connection, Hominid-Human Connection, excuse me. Check it out. It's definitely worth the buy and read. With that, guys, I'm going to bid you farewell.